Okay, we're recording. Welcome, Zuzanna V.
Thank you for having me. It's great.
Yeah, we're gonna visit with each other in a new way. Not new, but a way that invites more presence, a way that lifts people up into more visibility, especially in these times. We don't claim to have all the answers. We simply want to be more visible and express and share, uh, who we are, and perhaps a different part of humanity that the collective hasn't known very well. And so my inspiration is to just allow them to be more visible and to hear who they are, perhaps what they've experienced that has, you know, molded them into the being they are now in this specific timing. And so we'll get to unravel more of that with you, to invite that to be present. But first, I'd like to say just a little prayer. It's something that I do before I connect. It's something that I do to invite the presence. Okay, it's very simple. All right. So let's close our eyes and take a few deep breaths. Father, Mother, God, original source creators, first creators, I am here. And I create this space now to invite your presence in, as well as the human beings that I invite into this space as well, to explore, to dialogue, to discover, to unravel, to allow a new way of being and speaking to emerge, to unfold, to allow this present moment space to feel safe. So many of us have felt unsafe in the world as we knew it before. So, from this guidance, I'm following through, and I am creating this space so that we may understand more and facilitate more, be available for more, as we rise to be of service now in the world. So thank you for this presence. Thank you for this love. Thank you for this guidance. So thank you, Zuzanna V, for joining me, for coming into this presence with me.
Thanks for having me. This is great. I'm very excited to participate here.
Good, me too. The guidance that I had about this is that there's so many of us, and I have recognized you as one, as we did a session together and we've had a few dialogues together. I've recognized you as somebody who has, had the experiences throughout your life that have changed you. These frequencies, these energies, these light beings in a variety of forms can commune through us when we no longer have these walls. Or in the beginning, they may, kind of penetrate those walls and say, this exists. So start dealing with it now
Yeah.
so that we can be prepared and ready for some future time or some future something or other that everything is going to change and you're going to be needed to help people adapt to this new vibrational reality. So you are what we've been calling an experiencer. And I'd like to just not go backwards so much or focus on story so much, but to stay in the present moment and talk about, who you are now as a result of those experiences. And you can certainly bring story into it. I'm not saying don't talk
Right.
about the past, but let's just always keep it in, wow, what am I seeing now that makes so much sense about why I lived the life I
Oh,
did?
wow.
Why I was so upside down in the world trying to figure out, I'm crazy. Everybody thinks I'm crazy. Now, not so much.
Right.
So let's just begin with maybe a few reflections on get touch into some things that helped shape you, or define the opening of your heart and your sense of value. Maybe not so much at certain times, but coming into this value now.
Yeah. Being here now. Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, I started as a very little kid. I was like 2.5 years old when I had my first remembered experience, and from then, I knew that life was not as I would see it. When I was 10 years old, it's jumping ahead many years. I guess there wasn't too much going on just around that time. Maybe, I don't know. I remember sitting on my bed thinking, oh my God, what if all I see is all there is? It terrified me. It just terrified me. I think it was probably, I hated school, walking to school when I was 6 years old thinking, oh no, I've got 12 more years of this. That was the most horrible feeling. And so, I went through that, existential crisis sort of thing. Um, when I was 15, I got into a place where I was able to try drugs. I'm not recommending this, but I was able at 15 to try drugs, and my purpose for trying it was to see if there was a way in to what I felt was there, because I was still in this place of, is this all there is that I can see? There's got to be something else. So as soon as I discovered that, oh yes, indeed, there is another place, I made a vow to myself that I was going to find it on my own without any outside help.
Interesting. Yeah.
Soon after that, probably, months after that, I heard about, I lived in a little place. It was not my parents were not into anything, they were both Marines. So and I freaked them out a lot.
Sure.
So yeah. So I was able to get to do transcendental meditation. I was able to train in transcendental meditation, and that changed everything for me.
Mm-hmm.
And that started my real sort of, I won't say self-directed, because I've never really felt like I was directing anything. I was moved to be places, or to do something, or to explore something. But I really felt like I had a lot of help,
Mm-hmm.
so that started all that. And soon after meditation, I started yoga. And that saved my life in many instances for many times in my life. And then it just sort of went on from there. And I tried over the course of the next, I don't know, let's say from when I was 16 to not that long ago, tried to suppress, repress. You know, I would go through periods where I would embrace it, and then I would go through periods where I was trying to like fit in and not, you know, create waves or not freak anybody out, you know. And I just kept doing that all the time, you know. And I would look at my look back at a segment of my life and think, well, you know, that didn't work out really well.
Right.
Not really getting what was making it not work very well, you know, kind of like being a really slow learner. In some ways I'm sort of like, you know, there, and in other ways I'm just sort of like really stupid. So, you know, it was decades and decades of wondering what's wrong with me, why am I having these bizarre experiences. um, I always felt that they were beneficent. I was never terrified, or I never had the feeling like, you know, it was sort of like I lived for these things, these experiences. But I was still trying to sidestep something. I was still trying to fit in. I was still trying to fit my star-shaped peg into a round hole or something, whatever it was.
Mm-hmm.
And finally, this January, I had this like epiphany on actual epiphany where when I was getting ready for bed and I could see a little movie out here of a room full of boxes dissolving. And those boxes were all my files where I fit things. This is a metaphysical experience. This is an ordinary experience. This is a spiritual experience. This is a, I don't know what it is experience. You know, I'd had all these filing systems. And the next morning I woke up and my life was completely different,
Yes.
completely different. I was sort of like stunned, like a deer in the headlights for a couple of days, maybe longer. I can't remember now because things have moved so fast now since then.
Yes,
That's when I met you. That right after that was when I met you,
Mm.
because I was the only one I knew who had any of these kind of experiences.
It,
I had no reference point. I realized I wasn't crazy, but I didn't know how to deal with it all. I didn't know how to deal with it. So I'm in the process of learning that now,
mm-hmm.
and fully embracing who I am now. Finally.
Yes,
And it's fabulous. It really is, you know, like a weight off my chest. Um,
absolutely.
and and you know, knowing that I'm connected, knowing that I'm guided, you know, being able to see uh, that realm and connect with that realm more clearly now. But damn, it took a long time. Whoa.
Congratulations. I mean, I really mean that sincerely. I
Thank you.
congratulate you, and I congratulate all the others, you know, that I'm aware of or that I'm not aware of, that are like us, who have managed to survive.
To survive. Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
that's not hyperbole. This was
No.
hard. This was really hard. And that's not to call attention and, you know, ask for the accolades and the sympathy or whatever. It's just to say, I just want to recognize that in you and honor you for making it here. And there are a lot of us here who are elders who lived these lives as experiencers, right? Um, and and there was a big flip that occurred, and it's still occurring. Um, and from my sources, my guides, the ones who I've been in connection with my whole life, and by the way, I relate to absolutely everything that you shared about how do I do, you know, I'd go through, I can do this. I can be like everybody else. I can do this. And so then I do it and then I get sick or,
Right.
you know,
Right.
yeah. And then,
Totally.
or something, you know, to where I go, I can get married. I can do this marriage thing. And then, oh God, I can't do this marriage thing. I
Right.
can't pretend to be something I'm not. And
Right.
so
Oh God.
we had all best intentions, But and I'm not saying anything's wrong with marriage or any of those institutions. It's
No,
just
no.
that we there was something innate within us that said, and I even got the guidance, like, okay, you need to leave now. You need to leave this marriage. You have a path, and this is going to take you in a different path, on a different trajectory. And we could talk for hours about things like that, right? About getting
Right,
the messages and the
right,
guidance and the okay,
right.
now we're doing this.
Yeah, yeah.
A lot of
There's
times it
been
wasn't thought or strategized. It was just, oh, okay, we're doing this now.
right,
Yeah,
right. It's just like, okay, this is the next phase, and there have been these
yeah,
phases all the way through
yes,
where I think, okay, now I know what's going on.
yeah.
And and, and then
I
I
love
love
it.
it.
I just love it. Sorry.
Well, that's great. I love it. Your laugh. That's great. It is. It is. Let's have humor about it. I mean, because otherwise we would just kill ourselves. But
Exactly. Yeah.
yeah,
Right. No, I laugh because, oh, that's so healing. Because you get to a point where it's okay, I think I fit in this group. You're thinking about those files. It's like now
yeah,
this is the group.
yes,
Okay, cool. Oh, finally, thank
yes,
you, creators. Thank you, because now I found it.
yeah,
Sorry,
yeah.
that's
And it's like
not
not,
it. That's
not,
an aspect of you, but don't stop there.
yeah. It's more
Don't.
experiences to have. It's just an experience to have.
Yeah.
And to move one forward, little by little. And for me it was little by little. I mean, I had many what I would call pivotal experiences, like my one with the boxes in early this year, but each maybe each one, certainly this one was the biggest one because it finally got me out of the closet, out of my filing system.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And to me that was the biggest, most healing thing.
Yes.
And I didn't even realize I had this filing system until I saw it there, and I knew what that was, and was just kind of like watching it as I got ready for bed. And then the next morning, it was like I'd stepped into another realm.
Yes. And
It
we
was
have.
so cool. Yeah, and we have.
And what we're doing is we're solidifying this new reality now. So it's so important, in these dialogues with each other, that we support each other in and being here now,
Yeah,
instead of, oh, I still have to try and fit. Well, guess what? There's nothing left to fit into.
there's nothing left to fit in.
Take
No,
a take a look at what's happening. It's I want to say something, as briefly as possible about what's happening and all the different narratives that I am hearing and seeing on the internet,
good.
or
Yeah,
just talking with people about, oh, well, I know what's happening is this, and so it's all very solid to them, whatever whatever it is they believe, whatever their narrative is. um, they're going to fight something, or they're going to carry on the drama
yeah,
of some, or the victim perpetrator
yeah,
scenario. um, Whatever okay, everything is neutral right now. It doesn't matter if there's some um, it doesn't matter where this virus came from.
right,
It doesn't matter.
right,
The point is, how are you showing up in this present moment? Are you being you? Are you facing your fears that arise? Are you allowing a death to occur within yourself, or a series of deaths
right,
that experiencers are so familiar with?
right.
The death and the rebirth constantly.
Constantly.
So we are in that. I said this right from the beginning. We are in a global near-death experience.
Yeah, I love that term.
So how are we going to, as the messages that I bring through, have said ever since they first started coming through, you are coming to a time where you will meet your maker. And, immediately you think, oh, well, that's a phrase for death, right?
Yeah.
And yet they would say it or I would translate it in a way that said, but that's not what you think. It's
Mhm.
you're going to be given an opportunity to meet your maker and remain in form if you choose. So the quicker that we can start to face these deaths, these series of deaths within ourselves, um, the more the true, authentic, empowered, embodied soul can be present on this planet and create and rebuild and collaborate, just regenerate a new reality. But if we're still regurgitating or looping in those old patterns,
Mhm.
um, then we're not available for this light, for this regeneration to occur because we're too busy feeding the old system and the old world,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, I just wanted to say that because it's so important right now, um, that we lift each other up now and reinforce, even though nobody's feeding us, there's no authorities telling us what to think and how to believe and all. That's the freedom that you and people like you and I feel like, oh my God,
Mm.
the that grip, that dark energy, I felt it when it flipped, doesn't have its clutch anymore. So there was a moment where it let go. And that's the freedom that a lot of the light workers and light warriors are feeling like, oh, I have energy. I have, and yes, things are tragic. Things are sad. Things are difficult. People are suffering. There's, first responders, the medical community, all the nurses, doctors, so grateful for everything that they're doing now. At the same time, there's a new world rising.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
we don't have to dampen that down to, you know, uh, stay in the, yeah, it's sad, it's rough. There are a significant number of us now that are part of the rising of this new reality.
Mhm.
We are embedded everywhere.
Yeah. Good. Yay.
And that comes through the messages. They don't, you're not going to hear this on the news, people.
Yeah.
We are embedded everywhere. And we
Mhm.
have had unusual lives and we have not fit into the old world. A lot of us committed suicide. A lot of us left because it was too hard. And I do not, I was there myself. I'm
Yeah. Me
very, very
too. Me
close
too.
to it a couple times. So
Yeah.
I understand. I get
Yeah.
it. Um,
Me too. I'm very
yeah.
thankful at this point that I hung out, but you
So
know,
grateful
I
that
would
I
have,
did not.
any chance that was given me, I would have taken it, and
Totally.
wasn't it wasn't there.
I used to scream and yell, take me, please get me out of here. I don't know why I'm here. This is just, so
Yeah.
we've done our suffering. We've done our, being laughed at, judged, ridiculed, misunderstood, our whole lives. And I'm not saying, wah, you should feel sorry for us. I'm just saying we're now when the values are flipping now, and that is what's happening.
Yeah.
We're here. We're here to help. We're here to help people orient, right,
Yeah.
to this new reality because we've been practicing this
Right. Well,
our
we've
whole
got the
lives.
energy, and there's some kind of like, what I sort of see it as some kind of like a spider web sort of thing connecting us all, and that's getting stronger and stronger. And I sort of know now why I'm where I am, because I'm supposed to be there as this you know, just the energy of me being there, you know, rather than being with others like myself. I'm supposed to be holding this energy in a place
That's
where
right.
there isn't a whole lot of that.
That's right.
Um, and people have told me that before, but I didn't get it, and they didn't explain it. You know,
Mhm.
they weren't able to explain it, and I didn't understand it. But you know, I understand so much more now of what has gone on in my life, and that's amazing. And I was told I would. I was told I would before, because it used to be an issue to me. You know, it's like, please just let me understand
Yes.
why I'm here before
Yes.
I die.
Mhm.
And I was promised that I would. And I don't see that as saying that I'm going to be going soon. I don't feel that.
Mhm.
But if I do, that's okay too. But
Yeah.
you know, it
Sure.
was you know,
Yeah.
it's there's a rhyme and reason to everything, and we weren't privy to it. And it's just so exciting to me now
It's very
to
exciting.
go, oh, you know, I can look back on different scenarios and think, I, now I know, I get that. And it was all like these trainings, you know, it was all experience and trainings. And I've had a lot of that in the dream time too, but beaucoup in the ordinary reality, you know, just lots of stuff that I thought was just me not being able to get my act together, you know? And it wasn't, it was just a
Yes.
training. It was just an experience. This is, you're going to need this experience.
Right. So perfectly said. Yeah.
Mhm.
I think too, I should say, I feel too that the other part of our being here is to help people adapt to a different kind of language and a different perception that has been suppressed throughout
Absolutely.
centuries upon centuries. And that is the what people refer to as the divine feminine. But again, here's you're talking about a file name, okay?
Right. Right.
It's a the mind, the egoic mind will go, oh, I know what the divine feminine is. It's this, you know, all these images and things that they've
Right. We have
read.
all these pictures. Right. Yeah. Yeah.
It is not that. It is, those are symbols. Those are beautiful pictures, or you know, there's a lot of representation in this world, in this symbolic form and in words and language, the mythology of it. But the direct experience of this feminine, loving mother energy wants to ignite within us. And, you know, I can refer to the Kundalini or Koyopa, the Mayan term for it, actual bioenergetic experience um, that changed me. That that's part of it for me. That's part of my journey, my story, my understanding of this energy. But I in no way say that people have to have that kind of
Right.
an experience. It
Right.
might happen for you. I don't know.
Right.
But
All
there's
very
no,
individual.
yeah, and there's no, like, it's not goal oriented. I want Kundalini to rise, you know. Good luck with that if you
Right.
force it, right?
Right. No kidding. No
Oh, that's, you know, that's the mother, that's the goddess, and you do not want that to
kidding.
explode. Because what
Burn
it
your circuits out.
it will fry you simply because um, you think you're spiritual. You think you're ready. You think, you know, I've done everything. I followed all of what the book said. I followed what the teachers have said. I'm ready. Well, you find out in your actual, not thinking, actual, when that energy rises, or when also in contact and meetings with non-human intelligent high frequency energy, it's the same thing. You're being asked to rise, you know, to, it's like the pain surfaces, the fear surfaces in the presence of high vibrational
Yeah.
intelligence,
Yeah.
and it demands for you to rise,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
eh, it makes you very super ultra aware of how much fear you carry within your body and being, the trauma that's there.
Yes. And how much attachment to how you think things should be or how you want things to be.
Exactly. Those files.
Those files, those files. And the images, you know, in the head of, you know, I want my life to be like this. And it's like, I signed a contract a long time ago that said otherwise. And, you know, just going
Yeah.
along with that, just have to go along with that. And I wish I knew then what I knew now.
Yes, but then also at the same time, it's so perfect the
I
way it
know
unfolds.
it is perfect.
Yeah.
It is perfect.
Yeah. So, what is it that I wanted to ask you? So, what is it? Is there something that you can tap into from an experience or a few experiences that you've already done it? You've already said, "Oh," like this aha. Like what might be a revelation that you've had recently that something that informed you early on or earlier in your life that now it's like there's validation
Now
there.
it's, you know, right, right,
Yeah.
right. Yeah. Yeah. There's so much of that
Yeah.
all through my life. Um, but I guess the recent things, well, like 2 years ago, I became a nomad. And I, when I realized that this was going to have to happen, I had been divorced. I was renting a room in a house with a friend for about 5 years. And then it became clear that I was going to have to leave. You know, she was ready to have her house back to her for herself. And I was just kind of I'm a very minimalist person anyway, so I wasn't, you know, making a lot of money, and I realized that rents are just I can't afford
Yeah.
anybody else's rent.
Scary, huh? It was scary
Very,
for me
yeah.
too. Yeah.
So my first my first experience of that knowing was like, yes, this is it. This is the call. So I went through my process to figure out what I was going to do. I was looking online, various things, and I realized, okay, I'm gonna be live in my car camping sort of thing, and I can still pet sit, which was part of my income sort of thing. So going through the process of learning how to the nuts and bolts of how to do this, you know. And about a month later, the fear hit. It was the worst fear I'd ever experienced in a life of fear.
Mm-hmm.
I was trembling 24/7. It took a whole week for it to move through my body. Trembling 24/7, crying at the drop of a hat, couldn't sleep, begging, please help me get through this. Please help me get through this. Just like practically not screaming because I had a housemate, but just like I was a basket case.
Mm-hmm.
I had to keep doing what I was doing. I was a contract artist during that time, so I had to keep doing it. And my hands were shaking when I was holding the brush, and I did what I had to do. And so that lasted about a week, and I remembered my body hurt and everything like that, and I had to go pick up a new glasses frames, and I uh, had the awareness of pain in my body, and I was still in that kind of like, oh my God, shaking. When I got back, I sat out back of my little entrance to my room, and there's a stream there, and I just sat out there, and I thought, I'm gonna die. I mean, my heart was hammering like 24/7. I thought, this is gonna kill me. And I was just sitting there, and there was nothing I could do. I was just there, and all of a sudden, this breeze blew through me, and it disappeared. It just disappeared. The pain in my hip disappeared, and the heart calmed down, but it took a couple of years for it to get back to normal. I've noticed now, being here where I am right now in Virginia with some friends, that my heart isn't doing this anymore. So it took a while, about a year and a half, and now the last little 6 months to get it kind of normal. But because I mean, it just your body is your body. It's not your spirit. It has certain requirements for its health and well-being, and fear will literally kill you. So anyway, that's when that happened, I just let go of everything, and everything started to fall into place. It was like this miracle, but it's how life is. It's how life should be, or how life can be if you're not living in fear. And everything fell into place by these synchronistic, weird connections. I met a guy that was willing to take my seats out of my car for me for free. And, I met these people that I could camp with. And it turns out that the guy who took my seats out was best friends with the guy who was at the farm that I was camping at. And it's just like I found that out like a year later. There's a year in between that.
Huh.
And I took off on my initial road trip. I went back up to Wisconsin, which is where I had been 18 years prior to that. I went on a pilgrimage out west, and I stopped in Wisconsin in this area and met a couple that were at the campgrounds and remained friends with them for these almost 20 years. And so I decided, well, for this, launching of the nomadic Zuzanna, I'm going to go back to Wisconsin. And it seemed absolutely right. Boom, 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 everything into place. And I just can't even, it would take too long to go into all the things, all the beautiful things, people expressing care and concern that will never ever see me again. People inviting me into their home, or we're going away for a couple of weeks, come and stay in our house. They didn't know me, but there were connections. There were just all these connections. So that's what I learned very solidly, and what I knew all along, but only dipping in through my life was I able to really, but through this like freight train roaring through my body with this fear. I can still get into fear mode,
Of course.
but it's never like I've experienced before, and it's never like that. It's never like that. When I discover myself getting into fear mode, now I can, there's these little touchstones that I have that I go, but look at how you didn't know what was going on here, and look how this turned out, and it's just like, so I can pretty much now, knock on wood, I can pretty much now handle my life. I can handle it. There's nothing, because of because I think anyway, or I feel, or whatever, I feel that when that fear finally moved out, and it was so huge, I can't even describe it. There's no description. There's no words that will make it, understandable to anybody.
Right.
But I have a stronger trust and faith in the universe to take care of me. And I use the word universe as a kind of like an over blanket umbrella sort of thing, because to me it has the least charge of anything.
You're right.
You can put any other word you want in there. God, goddess, interdimensionals, whatever. So does that address the question that you asked me? I don't know. I just kind of
Yes, beautifully, actually. Because the question was, what is the revelation now? And you went through describing that process of releasing the fear. You had surrendered, in essence. You said, I'm just going to go do this. And then your body said, okay, in order to walk into this new reality, we need to make a few adjustments. And we're going to...
That's a great way of I love that.
Yeah, for me as a musician, it's about attuning the instrument. It's like you can't take the instrument into this new higher vibrational reality. So it did what it needed to do
It sure the hell did. It sure the hell did. boy.
And so in a lot of ways, I mean, that's just another way of, you know, the kundalini rising. It's like it was a slower one for you. It was like, okay, I'm just going to be who I am. I surrender. I know I can't do that anymore, right?
Right.
I
Right.
think I'm done. I don't know what else to do, so I'm going to jump off this cliff, right? And we're on this proverbial cliff right now with the collective. And so I feel that, you know, to kind of bring these threads together of what you just shared and what I received from it and what I also relate to in my life is you made room for more of you to be here. We cannot do this. We cannot rise into this new way of being and show up with other people to recreate this reality, this world with the natural world, with Mother Earth, with this old shit, basically. We can't do it.
You can't.
Uh,
It won't happen. It
it
just won't
won't let
happen.
you.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so, in a lot of ways, in a lot of cases, people will choose to leave the body to make this transition. It doesn't mean that everybody who leaves the body couldn't do it.
Right.
That's something that I want to really make clear
Yeah.
now
It's
from
not.
this
It's not a
moment.
failure by
It
any
is not a
stretch.
failure. It is, this is the way I'm choosing, this is the way my soul and I are choosing to make this transition, because this is a transmission for everyone. We're all going through this. And we will meet our maker in the ways that, you know, the soul says, okay, we're gonna pass from the body to do this,
Yeah.
but you're gonna meet your maker and you're gonna remember and you're gonna understand. If you want to come back into form, you know, fine. We can't even think about future things.
No,
We
it's not.
need all of our energy to be present with this, as you so beautifully described. You I That must have been absolutely terrifying for you.
It was. It was the. It was the worst sort of compact experience I think that I've ever had. Worse in inverted commas. I mean, most powerful, let's say. And it lasted a week. I mean, it wasn't just like, an hour or something like that. It was a flipping week, 24/7.
Right. Right. And to, you know, and a lot of times I think people, when they reach that, what's been referred to as that wall, this is the wall, this is the proverbial wall that we're all transcending now, in our own ways. When I met that wall in um, 1998, um, right before it went into the bioenergetic experience, that's when I was, you know, the closest I've ever been to ending my life. I just want to emphasize to anyone who may see this, um, you know, just allow yourself to feel it all and to
Yeah,
surrender.
yeah,
If you
absolutely.
do this or hang yourself or whatever, you're just going to have to be returned to this same moment
Yes.
again. You'll repeat it over and over and
Yeah,
over until you say, um, help me, I give up. I give up. And that's essentially what I did. Is I screamed and raged, and you know, the curse words, the, you know, the stomping, the like you referred to, just the loudness of I can't do this anymore. It's like you release, you're saying, I give up on this pretend reality that never worked for me. Show me, universe.
show me.
Show me what is true. Show me what is alive. I don't want to be a walking dead zombie here because I'm aware of so much more. Why do I have to fit here? You know,
Right.
in context of an experiencer type. Um, but you don't even have to be an experiencer. You know, if you just consider yourself very different from this world that was, it's not here anymore. It's going through its um, it has consistency now because humanity's projections uh,
Yeah, keep it alive.
keep it alive and keep it like, oh, what's going to happen now? The reality show, that we're all projecting and going, what's going to happen now? Well, it's going to show us where we're collectively believing, right? And we're going to project it, a direct projection
Mm.
of what we're attached to.
Right. Yeah. We're going
What
to
we
see in high relief our reality or
exactly
personal reality
right,
as well
right.
as collective reality.
Shared realities, right? You're gonna like your buddies that you always hang out and um, uh, talk about life with, and what's actually happening, and who's what the Illuminati are doing or not doing, or just a variety. I'm not saying those things aren't real. I'm saying that they do not have to run us in any way, shape, or form. If we are still focusing on the outer world and outer world characters and giving them that power, then you are continuing, as I said
Yeah,
earlier, to feed that world.
that
That
realm.
is
Right.
energy, and you
That's
will
right.
keep it alive because of the greater fear of going within and
Yeah.
saying, and
Yes.
saying, okay, I'm ready to meet my maker. Show me what's true, because I don't want to live in that reality that I
Yeah.
have been feeding, right?
Yeah.
Such powerful stuff. And I just want to, again, honor you. And I'm sorry if I've been saying your name wrong. You just said your name. That's the first I've heard you say it.
Yeah, I get all kinds of things. So
Zuzana. Did you say
Zuzana. Yeah,
Zuzana?
Zuzana, yeah. It's an Eastern European rather
Oh,
than a
I like
Western
it.
European, but who
Yeah.
knows, I know who you meant.
Well, that's good. You're a smart one. Um, I just really honor you for making this journey, and welcome to the new world.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
Because
Brilliant to be here, and goddamn, I'm glad I hung out to do it,
me too. I'm celebrating now. Like, oh, I'm so glad I didn't kill myself. This
Yeah,
is it. This
yeah.
is why.
It. This is it. When
Yeah.
this initial panic started happening, again, I had another one of those like it was a moderate sort of thing, but I realized this is it. This is what I was born for. This is
Yes.
what all that life meant.
Yes.
Here, I fit in here now.
Yes. For the
Isn't
first time,
for
it's
the
like,
first
oh,
freaking time.
yeah.
And it seems so weird, especially to say it to people who might be in fear mode and everything like that. That
Yes.
just sounds like completely and utterly bizarre. But
I know.
it feels so good to me.
Mhm.
This is why I'm here.
It is. And we continue, one foot in front of the other. Like I was saying earlier, we don't have all the answers, but every one of us that are here now that made this journey, we have pieces of the puzzle. And that's why this presence through the messages has emphasized repeatedly, you need to be talking with each other now. You will empower each other. You will find the gifts and the treasures within each other. And when you, sorry, I forgot to turn that notification off. Um, you will come together and uh, integrate.
Yeah.
When we talk about oneness, this is what the oneness is. It's like seeing your gifts and saying, thank you for being here. Join us. We're going to integrate this into our, new world.
Mm.
And I always hesitate on that because I don't ever like using phrases from the past. We have
I
to
know.
make up new ways of
We
saying.
need a new language or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, and the way the non-human intelligence has interacted with me, there aren't words. It's
There
all
aren't
pure
words.
energy.
Right. You can't articulate it.
Right. And we articulate simply so that we can share it with someone who doesn't speak our original language,
Right.
this cosmic language of energy.
Mhm.
So we do our best to translate it. And a lot of times it just sounds like, oh, this is new age mumbo jumbo. And I get it. It does sound like that
Yeah.
because we're like, oh, the love. Oh my God, the love. It's when I talk about ecstatic states, it's like people, oh, the shame. You can feel them. Oh my God,
Yes.
she's making those sounds.
I know, right? Right. I know.
She's making sex
I
sounds.
know. And I'm going, go for it. I love those recordings of you when you're in that ecstasy. It's just like so right and so real to me.
And I'm so happy you said that because not many people have said that to me. A few who aren't defensive about it, like, oh, I can't feel that because that will unravel something deep within me, right?
Mhm.
So I have to laugh at it and call it sex sounds, right? It's
Mm.
not. I mean,
No.
it's the sexual current, but hey, what is the sexual current?
Right. What is it? And
Excuse
so
me.
we're seeing something that is ecstatic divinity. And when it comes through all the veils,
Yes.
what it translates into is sex.
Yeah.
And then we alter it even more, with
It's
with
very
other
distorted, very, very
distorted.
distorted.
Yeah,
It's
that's the word.
squeezed into this tiny, tiny, tiny container. And
Yeah.
we think, and I remember telling people, um, sex is fabulous. A lot of good experiences there in my life. But wait till you feel the divine current exploding in your body and transforming you.
Yes.
You will go, sex? Oh, that was
It
ridiculous
doesn't
compared
even
to,
bear
yeah,
resemblance.
yeah. And so, the point being, let's allow this transformation to occur, this divinity to be reborn through us the way we were designed to be. And then you share that wholeness with another human being if you choose. But right now we're just these little fragments going, here's a combination of my woundedness and some insights, and just this mix of being a fragmented being, and these fragments come together with fragments and build stories and identities that don't serve anyone in the end. When that starts to crumble and fall apart, oh, I failed.
I
No,
know, right?
no.
Yeah. Yeah.
um it's bound to fail, unless you have two fully awake beings.
Yeah.
Now a lot of times we get these 60-year wedding anniversary celebrations that are fabulous, and we rejoice that with them. But a lot of times you find out, oh well, they don't ever talk to each other, or they've adapted to, I hate you, you hate
Yep. They
me.
figured out how
That's,
to do what they need to do to
yeah, and
carry on.
I'm not saying they're all like that. I'm just saying that you have to consider that they just were, some of these couples might be more afraid of being alone than being in the confined spaces and just dealing with it, right?
Right, right. Yeah. Easier. Wow.
So let's come to a close now, even though, I love talking. This is my passion. I love the dialogue. I
Yeah.
love people. I just always have. And just like you, I've had to squeeze myself into these spaces in order to make money. And, and yes, I was able to be creative in my life, but that's not what I got paid for,
Mm.
but
Right.
so we just managed to make it here, and that's just incredibly exciting. So thank you for meeting me today and for meeting me, one soul to another who has had their eyes open and their ears open to see and hear, that we can come together like this and celebrate and be excited about being lucid now, and moving forward in life on this lucid platform.
Yes. Thank you so much for having me, Eileen. This has just been a joy and a blessing to me. Thank you.
Wonderful. You're welcome. Um, Good. So we'll be doing this again with different configurations, but I look forward to that when we
Yeah,
can create another and another and another.
that'll be great. That'll be great.
So long for now.
Bye bye.